All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Readers. I am really excited to talk about this sector, but real quick, there have been a lot more spam bots and fake chart reader accounts. It's gotten so crazy that they're actually making fake accounts of the people in my Discord, like my mods and the golden onions, and the internet's an ugly place. I love our little corner in it, and my goodness, everyone is so amazing here, right? But please be safe. Please know that I am doing everything for free. I am not trying to give you private lessons on the side. I am not trying to ask you how your trading is going and promise you I can make it better with a $5,000 course. No. The Discord's free. The Twitters are free. I don't care if you got 3 followers, millions of followers. I will do it all and answer you for free, okay? Don't fall for the spam bots, all right? Again, they're literally getting so smart that they're finding people that interact. I'm sure there are YouTubers, the comments out there, right? You probably have no followers, but I know people are reading your comments. You're seeing more than just my thumbs up and my heart on it. You know what I mean? And be careful is all I'm saying, all right? Let's get into the technicals. And look, there's a little bit of be careful. I'm also going to echo on the tickers, okay? I'll talk about it more in detail shortly. But look, NASDAQ's been amazing. I've been talking about how much I've been loving and how amazing NASDAQ is. NASDAQ's finally at a higher RSI. Right? When we were down here, look in the box over there, RSI was a 47. When we were up here, it was still only a 55. We got all the way up here and it was a 63. In the last couple days, we went from a 63 to the now 88 you see. And again, I'm not here pretending I know the math on this stuff. I am not that smart, I promise you. But I know when I got to start ringing the alarm bell, especially on an index. You know what I mean? So NASDAQ might need to do a little bit of a healthy cool down. NASDAQ has gone away from the 8. I think it'll come back to the 8. I do not think we're going to lose it. I think it'll probably bounce, right? So I'm going to guess that NASDAQ's probably going to come down to like 19,650, give or take. All right, I think we'll come down just a little bit, bounce on that 8 and keep going, okay? The only thing that might make it a little worse than it probably needs to be is the upcoming FOMC, all right? So again, I will echo that as I go through the video, but when Powell speaks, things happen, and good MACD, good RSI, good volume, overall 5 on the index, exact same thing with all the tickers. If Powell says something scary, he can change a lot of things, okay? So just be careful with the overall NASDAQ doing a cool off, but again, I think it's just gonna be a healthy cool off and nothing bad. Make sure Powell says nothing silly, and my goodness, things are just looking so good on these, all right? So excited to talk about these and more, but before we do go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. You know, I actually want to start with RGTI. Cool. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I'm so grateful for it, all right? So I focused on these two on my last video. And a lot of the theory really was, hey, if you miss the first runners, don't feel bad. Don't. I'm telling you, I miss way more than I hit. I promise. I do not live in a good part of LA. I can tell you that right now. You know what I mean? I miss way more than I hit. But the goal is don't feel bad. Find the next one, and hey, sometimes it's right in the same sector, and that was the goal here, right? I'll get to them shortly, but QUBT, I mean, this thing took off, and it took off quick. We got our big candle pretty early, and I mean, it just never gave up, right? IONQ was just a far more sustainable monster all the way back from September, you know what I mean? With RGTI, it was struggling a lot longer to actually take off. And really, you can argue the whole thing happened in the last 2 weeks, right? We got the gap up, we got the biggest candle finally in this little run, right? Like Rigetti did the job recently, right? With QBTS, exact same thing, right? There was nothing happening in September and October when IONQ was taking off. There was barely anything happening in October and November when QUBT was taking off. Lo and behold, over the last 2 weeks, those two were already too hot. These two wanted to get that sector strength. They wanted to get lifted, and lo and behold, they did, right? I started the video by talking about the NASDAQ. And a lot of my belief in why I thought those would do so well, a lot of my belief on why I was ignoring really, really high RSIs for roughly 3 weeks, right? All during that little uptrend, I was very, very positive. It was the RSI. Okay, the RSI was living at a very healthy 50. I kept saying we have plenty of room to go to the 80s. We have plenty of room to go to the 80s. On one of my last videos, the RSI was literally, and you can see it in the box over there, at a 63. Plenty of room to go to the 80s. I'm a little surprised we went as high as 88. I'll say that for sure. Again, I really don't know the math here, but that's high. 80, 81 is high. 85 is high. 88 is actually pretty close to really high. You know what I mean? So I got to expect a healthy cool down. All right. I don't think we're going below this candle. I do not think we're going to slip below 19,600. But I can see us coming down to like 19,650. It would lose what? Is that a 10% drop? Yeah, right. Because I'm moving the decimal once. That's about $200 right there, right? I'm losing about $200 from that. Is that a 1% drop? I did the math wrong, I think. I don't know. Let me know. Yeah, 10%, right? No, 1%. Oh my goodness, I'm wasting time on my dumb math right there. 1%. Yeah, 1%. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Nonetheless, I could see it dropping $200, okay? As long as we hold the moving averages, I'll be fine with it. I can see us going from that 80 to maybe a 60, even a 71-ish, 70, whatever. Get me below 80 so I can believe we're ready to go back up and plow and continue on up once we bounce on the 8 and continue, right? So with that, let's go back to RGTI, right? With that, that's where I start to maybe give a little consideration to this 83. My issue, and I say issue with a smile and love, man, that's a bullish candle right there. It really, really is. And look, I see it going down after hours a little bit. I do. And maybe it's a little bit more. That's a little bit in my head. It actually really is. We're up 30 something percent and we're actually only down, what, 5 if I'm seeing it correctly, right? Like, no, that's sustaining a lot right there. And you know that look at the look in the box over there. The high of the day was $4.93, the third line right there. We closed just a penny under at $4.38. It's the smallest of babiest of wicks that you see on the top right there, right? People were essentially buying and buying and buying and buying and buying the entire day. You know what I mean? And Friday is supposed to be a loser day. I started my morning by saying that isn't today supposed to be a loser Friday? Like what? Like so much happened today. You know what I mean? And this was part of the so much, right? But there's a lot of strength here. I see a stronger divergence here, right? This green line wants to go up and higher and more positive, right? The red is clearly not going in that same slope, and that's a good divergence. You can even argue that's a decent divergence. It kind of looks like the green wants to keep going up too, you know? And my goodness, that's still very, very helpful. I love everything I see here. I do. I think there's a decent concern that this will come down to 370. And hey, let's be honest, from 430 to 370, there's not a lot of big concern right there. That's not a wild number. So to me, truth be told, this thing I think the 8 will probably get to. Yeah, as long as, look, that would be a little bit of a bad drop. If you lose $1, if you go from 430 to 330, I wouldn't want to see that. But this actually is bullish as long as it's CBA. I can't lose that tomorrow. Let's just keep this number. Let's keep things 380. As long as Rigetti is over $3.80, I will very much call it bullish. Okay. From there, the goal is this next line up here, okay? What I would love to have happen, sorry to zoom in and out so much. I would love to go up just a little bit more. Maybe we kiss 5, maybe just a little under 5, maybe like 490, whatever. Go a little bit up, come back down, bounce on this line, make it go from a resistance that I drew up here to this new support that we use and bounce from, and then go. That's essentially what we did here. We gapped over it, we came to it, and we continued, right? I would love to do that for Rigetti. Boom, boom, boom. Because again, that's a little bit of a high 83. Maybe it'll keep going. Hey, and again, I gave that NASDAQ warning, right? Where's the weekly? That's a beautiful weekly. Look at that. It's a 91 RSI. Okay, it's a high number. It is, but my goodness, this is the second best week of volume, and last week was the best one. You know what I mean? So there are a lot of bullish things, and sometimes it's easy to ignore an indicator. You know what I mean? When the moving averages and everything else look good. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. QBTS. I think my wife is leaving. Are you leaving? Oh. Oh, I'm gonna pause this. Sorry, one second. Okay, I'm back. We looked at Rigetti. We're now on QBTS. Hey, real quick, if you could subscribe and share, much appreciated. QBTS, look, a lot of the same thoughts, and now that I'm kind of seeing it, I'm probably going to chapter the two together, all right? Again, the big reason we were looking at this one was those other ones just ran, and this one was right behind it and ready to go, right? Just like we saw with Rigetti, we've got an 85 RSI on that daily, a 90 as well. The crazier thing was this is actually a better week of volume, right? Where Rigetti, RGTI, where Rigetti is going down, and again, maybe it's insignificant, right? Again, I'm just kind of I'm here trying to see which one with the bullish outlier, right? Oh man, it's there's a lot of strength on this weekly. That's a strong and beautiful divergence. This is actually the first time on the weekly the MACD is this diverged and this positive, and it's never seen a full one on the right. Like, look at that thing. There's actually a lot of strength here, but man, a 91 RSI has to be a little bit concerning to me. Obviously, yeah, look at that, right? If the weekly is there, you got to expect the daily is as high as it's ever been on the MACD, basically living on that zero line, right? So there's some really nice strength. There's some really good things coming. The golden line when I draw it will probably be off of one of those two candles. I'd need to zoom in, but we're not quite at the IPO moment yet, right? This 560 is an important line, but it's definitely not the golden line just yet. But yeah, I would say this. I don't think there's anything wrong with banking profits. There's been a lot to be made. Today alone was a big number, right? So if you're long and strong, hey, you know what I mean. You ignore the swing trader guy saying bank, but yeah, I can see some healthy cool downs coming. I was mentioning the Nasdaq as well, just in case if you're kind of focusing on this part more than the other part, but. It's an 88 RSI on the daily right there, right? The weekly is still actually low, so maybe that's actually saying next week. And again, I'm seeing is just a little baby drop, and then hopefully a good, nice little takeoff up, right? So, yeah, I'm still very much liking things. All I'm seeing is just healthy movements up. All right. So, did I give a target up? I did, right? No, I didn't. So, I think we're gonna draw the golden line. I think we're going to draw the golden line. Give me a second. Let's do that. Oh, interesting. So we're not going to draw the golden line. I think what I'm going to draw is this. I think it's roughly half that. It's roughly half that. It's the top of that. When we get a little closer to here, that's going to be our golden line. That is the IPO green candle right there. So I think 7 is a little aggressive of a target. I think for now another 10% from where we are at is relatively realistic. But again, just watch the NASDAQ, make sure nothing silly happens, and please don't forget Powell has powers to make what looks amazing either even better or significantly worse. You know what I mean? So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. QUBT and IONQ. Oh my goodness. Look, I know this doesn't look as nice as those first two that I covered, but my goodness, all we are doing is living on and riding up the 8 moving average. That is an amazing, amazing thing. I hope you see why I love these lines. I hope you see why I say they're your best friends or your worst enemies, depending on what side of them you're on. You know what I mean? But there's actually some real nice things that I'm seeing here. And looky, looky, our RSIs are a little bit healthier here, right? What was a little bit weaker volume all of a sudden is starting to get a little bit better, right? I mean, it's interesting for this to happen on, again, I flashed it quickly, but right here. Fridays are loser days. You know what I mean? Like it's ridiculous to see some good happen on Friday, especially a lot of good. But that's a gap up off the 8. There's an interesting doji right there too. You know, and I will for sure talk about this. Let me just flash IONQ really quickly. Man, pretty much the same thing. Not as doji-esque, but yeah, just riding and bouncing on the 8. These are beautiful, beautiful moves. Again, I realize 5% is a lot lower than the 35, but this has made the run, and those other ones are just trying to catch up. You know what I mean? So, oh man, I love this stuff. Hey, real quick, I don't think I said it, but if you can subscribe, if you can share, much appreciated. So, you know, these two are a little bit more interesting, and I think I would actually have some more confidence on these two than the first two, okay? Despite everything I was saying that NASDAQ is going to maybe come down about 200 bucks over the next couple days, I think that this RSI is low enough to allow it to be the outliers that go up. Because look, I still really think NASDAQ is going to continue to go up. NASDAQ still riding the 8. NASDAQ still very, 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 very bullish. It's just a little high on the RSI. It needs a healthy cool down, right? Like NASDAQ's not here to rocket. It's here to sustainably go up, right? And healthy cool downs are part of that, right? We're going to go up. We're going to come down. We're not going to go that low. We're going to do something like this. We're going to go bump, 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 bump. I just think we're going to actually do it a little bit steeper now. You know what I mean? But still up and down. I think, however, these, and with these I mean QUBT and IONQ, I think the setup is here to actually still go up. This, I think, wants to go back to the 80s. Actually, it wasn't even that long ago that I was in the deep, deep 90, right? And even with IONQ, you can see the same thing. There's actually a really healthy 64. And it's been pretty much just living horizontally. And this actually got even higher in the 90s and sustained in the 90s for a long, long time, you know? Still over all the moving averages. Volumes under the 50-day line. You know I generally don't like that, but I mean, I love how consistent this is. Again, Fridays are loser days. I'm always ready to just ignore a Friday and look at the rest of it. And you know what I mean? Like this is just good volume, good MACD, very healthy RSI. I think both of these. And again, one of the comments that I made and why I was putting some focus on RGTI and QBTS is I felt those didn't catch up, right? Those were ready and wanting to do what these two big ones just did, right? They've now caught up. I do believe that they've now caught up, and hey, it's going to be easy to bring the focus back to here. Maybe all this volume that went away went there, and now it's ready to come back. That's kind of what I would expect, right? So look, the goal is to break 803. If this can break 803, we're making the next move. We're gonna make a golden line attempt, actually, is what it really looks like. Yeah, for sure. And it's this. That's our golden line. Again, that's a very high target, right? Oh no, wait, where are we? What price are we at? Are we near 14? No, we're still only in the 7s. I think 7 is a little aggressive for sure, but you can kind of see it. It's very, very quick channels. There's a lot of red, green, 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 red, 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 and lots of nothing, nothing, nothings, right? We've pretty much been in none of these channels since all the way back here in 2021, right? That's, oops, don't move the line. That's actually the last candle. In early November, November 9th, 2021, was the last time we were above 803 before these last little wicks that we saw. One was today, one was what, last week, right? So there is a lot of fast possibility in those channels. Keep your eyes here, all right? That's a beautiful daily RSI. Weekly, wow, weekly is a 98 RSI. Those are some really interesting dojis right there too, man. My goodness, I gotta give a little respect to that. How low is that? 607. Nah, 607 is way too low. All right, let's just talk about the come down. I think 630, maybe 650 is a realistic low end target. I would say it's still bullish as long as it holds it. I like this daily for sure, but that weekly RSI has to have me concerned. I didn't look at IONQs. Yeah, it's 91. I mean, it's not low by any means, but QUBT, my goodness, that's high. Oh man, it's hard. That's a hard number to ignore. But just look at it. It's actually been living very horizontally too. My, oof. Oh man, you can tell I don't know a little bit right there, but I actually think we're gonna break this 803. I do. Where is this? I think there's a shot at 930. I think my gut says 930 is a little more realistic than 650. But I think that's the 1-2 coin right there on QBTS, the heads and the tails right there. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. Even if you disagree, let's give IONQ a little bit of love. And like I said, it's really the same thoughts. I don't even think I needed to say that. Let me give my... Okay. So let's just show it in the weekly, right? We are in all-time highs right here. There is no, even we're actually over the wick at this moment right now too, right? So there is no educated line that I can draw and say, oh, that's going to probably stop us right there, right? So when you're in all-time highs, you have no resistances. It's a beautiful thing. When you're in all-time highs with a 64 RSI, oh man, that could actually be some wildly strong and amazing things, especially as it kind of looks like the MACD is about to reset and volume might even get ready to get hungry and go, right? IONQ in a lot of ways, this one's probably the most bullish thing of the four of them. It is extremely bullish over 34.40. I even think it's like, I would hate to drop from 36 to 31. I don't even know if it will. The only way it probably would is if Powell says something silly, in all honesty. But look at that 64, right? Like, I think IONQ can push to the 90 something that the other. Okay, if I had the most educated thing I would say, especially when we were just pushing in all-time highs, I assume 20% gains. And that's probably where some sort of resistance would hit. Because yeah, if I made another 20%, I'd want to bank that thing really quickly, right? So I just assume 20% cool down, 20% cool down, 20% cool down until some news, some PR, some indice thing happens, right? But I do like IONQ the most. I think QUBT and IONQ will take back the focus that Rigetti and QBTS took. And overall, though, the sector is lovely, and that's a beautiful thing, right? So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so much.